Alrighty. How is it going, folks? How are we all doing this fine Thursday? It's me, GoldenNova, the lore laureate, the explaining expert, and today we're talking about your custom cards today. Once I figure out how to get this stuff to function, I don't know where the background went. It has disappeared on us. Huh. I love the next custom scar streams later this month. I had to split it up over a couple of weekends because there's just so gosh darn many of you people. And there was the holidays, so I had to sprinkle it around. So we've got 4 more days of customs from now until Sunday, and then till the end of time. But that's enough about that. I need to figure out how to resize this because, okay, now it's letting me do it. For some reason, I was trying to futz with it before the stream started, and it was like, no, resizing is actually for punks. You're not allowed to do any of that. Well, who's laughing now? It's me. Hee hee ha ha ho ho. And boom. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so we've got 3 presenters today. 3 of you wonderful folks. And we're going to be starting with Mr. Pillock. Oh, Drama invade the bedroom again, please. Yeah, golly, that would be painful. Alrighty, back on the platform. Heading over to the platform. Going to the platform. Hey, there's the guest comms. There we go.
And
I've
here
done.
we are.
Hey, how's it going?
I just saw a baby chick choke on a worm. They both died. Isn't that great?
What the? You can't lead with that. What the hell?
You don't remember that one? Or maybe that was a little bit too deep. I don't know.
It could be. Look, you cannot overestimate my capability to remember bits. Huh?
Homestar Runner. Like, a Pokey Tale, if I recall correctly.
Oh, man. There's a lot of Homestar Runner that I think I missed out on, so I don't think I know that one.
Check it out if you can, but anyway, back on topic.
Okay, well, hey, I respect you for bringing up possibly the greatest Flash animation series ever.
Oh, you can barely hear me? Oh.
Yep, there we go. One of these days I've got to figure out how to separate my background music and people's audio, but today is not going to be that day.
Do I sound better? Let me see if I can turn myself up.
Oh, no, you're fine. It's me.
Oh, fair enough.
Because I pipe everything in through the desktop audio, so when I want to bring the music under control, that gets turned down. But then all my guests end up being quiet, so it's a whole deal.
Oh dear, like, do I need to repeat the bit, chat? I'm sorry.
Chat doesn't need to hear the bit. We're all good with the bit.
Well, you are. Don't speak for your chat.
Okay, so I see that you have brought some sweet legacy support. What any stuff you want to talk about? Why you decided to choose these folks today?
Well, I've been on a bit of well, 2 things actually. I helped you out a lot with Magispector Explained, if you recall correctly.
Oh, absolutely. That I remember.
Yep, and I've also been on a bit of an Infernable Night kick lately, so I figured, you know what, let's make some Ignite support in the same vein as the Magispector support we had in Phantom Nightmare. Does that sound like a fun idea?
I certainly think so. Ignites are one of the most underserved of the themes, which is strange because they're also one of the most powerful, if you know what you're doing.
Yes, yes, Jeff. I forgot your flippin' surname. Whoops.
Jeff, big 07's for Jeff in chat.
The only way who is the only person who is allowed to play Mystic Mine, if I recall correctly.
Absolutely.
But am I going to ignite some interest? I should bloody well hope so.
Ryojin, Xenomar, please leave the puns to the professionals.
Ha, yes.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and kick things off. We've got Ignite Page, a level 4 Fire Warrior tuner monster with 1400 attack and 500 defense. Doesn't appear to be a pendulum.
Because it is a page, aka a knight's apprentice. They're just basically a young child who is a apprentice of a knight, and so basically, once you get knighted, let's say, hang on a minute, I don't know much about knighthoods, but let's say he hasn't had his knighthood yet.
Everyone knows that when you're sworn into knighthood by the good old monarchy, you gain a pendulum scale. You know, it happened to Lancelot. It happened to Gawain. That's why noble knights are all pendulum monsters.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a separate law for sure with noble knights. I'm not going to live that down, am I?
Yeah. Thank you for participating in my psyop on YouTube Shorts, by the way.
Well, that makes one of us. All right.
Alright, so, cannot be used as material for a summon except for the synchro or link summon of a Fire Warrior monster. If an Ignite card in your Pendulum Zone is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target an Ignite Pendulum monster in your face-up extra deck and either add it to the hand or place it in your Pendulum Zone. You can target up to 2 face-up Ignite and or Draco Slayer Pendulum monsters in your extra deck, shuffle them into the deck, and if you do, increase or decrease this card's level by the number of cards returned to the deck by this effect. Okay, so it's recycling, it's level modulating on a tuner, which is fantastic. We're limited on the kinds of things we can make with them, but you know, if you want a tuner for your Ignite deck, you already have the Draco Slayer one.
Yeah, and also I just put that first restriction in there because I didn't want people to abuse it for a sword, but that's not a problem anymore because, you know.
Yeah!
Yeah, I made this before Isolde got banned, full disclosure. So if it seems a bit restricted, that's probably why.
Hey, and you know what? It's good to future-proof it just in case.
But what's this about this? What's this? You're still waiting on custom cards for Gemini. You missed my Chemicritter batch a few months ago, didn't you?
Yeah, make sure you don't miss out on the custom card streams. We've actually had a lot of people make some really cool Gemini support.
Yep.
Lemon did some cool ones. I think someone else did. We've got some Gemini lovers in chat. I think like last month specifically, there was like 8 of you.
I'm just gonna become a level 2 for Sprite Synergy. No, bad.
That can't be used as material for a summon unless you're making a. You can't even make a rank 2 one because it's specifically only for synchros and links.
There you go.
Yeah, so don't be trying to play my man here. These guys restriction all set up.
Yeah, you were part of the problem.
Me?
No, not you. I did chat.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Alrighty. But no, yeah, this is really solid. It summons itself for free by doing the thing the deck already wanted to do. So it's got great synergy on that one, great deployability, and it's got recycling. All around, solid tuner for the deck.
Yes. Let's have a synchro pendulum monster next, shall we?
Alrighty. Ignite Grandmaster, a level 8 warrior synchro pendulum. I presume fire attribute. It can't not be a fire one.
Did I forget that? God, I'm so dumb.
In the meantime, hey Lemon, thank you for subscribing for 11 months to the channel. Did I hear Gemini? Exactly. I had to highlight your contributions to the Gemini pool as well. Could not forget that. All right, so I assume. Oh yeah, it requires not generic materials, tuner plus 1 or more Ignite Pendulum monsters as material. If you have an Ignite card in your other Pendulum Zone, you can target... Oh, this is Pendulum Effect, by the way. If you have an Ignite card in your other Pendulum Zone, you can target one other card you control. Destroy that target, and if you do, set an Ignite spell or trap card from your deck. If this card in the Pendulum Zone is destroyed by a card effect, draw a card. Ooh, okay.
It says from grave, by the way, not deck.
Oh, instead from the grave. Okay, I guess I defaulted. Okay, but still good recovery on that. We've already gone over the materials. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target one other Ignite Pendulum monster you control and one card, Pendulum monster card, very important, you control and one card on your opponent's field or in their graveyard. Destroy the first target, and if you do, place the second target on the top of its owner's deck. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can place it in your Pendulum Zone. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn.
So, it's Ignis to Prominence, but it targets, but you can use it in your opponent's turn.
Hey, and that's the only thing that would make Ignis to Prominence better. A quick effect.
Yeah, I mean, you do lose the lack of targeting on Ignis to Prominence, but I think for a quick effect, I think that's a pretty fair trade-off.
I think it's a pretty good extension of it that doesn't power creep it. So I think you made a good trade-off.
Like, so your opponent has a chance to escape it, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, they're Ignites. Let's not give them too much capabilities, okay? They are a couple of bumbling buffoons.
Just don't tell me DPE taught you something, Konami. Wait.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, a legitimate ass boss monster for Ignites. I'm actually really happy about this.
Also, it's scale 8, and I believe the other main deck Ignites are level 7, so you can Pendulum summon them if you want to. Or are we level 8? I don't remember.
The scales go from 2 to 7. So you can't Pendulum this.
Yes.
Once it's in your face-up extra deck. But we've got ways around that. It's Pendulum for crying out loud. We have good scales for this now.
There's more to come as well. There's like 2 cards we haven't seen yet. Apropos of nothing.
Anyway, ignoring that, it's now Ignite Valor's time. A Link 2 Fire Warrior monster with the southeast-southwest arrows. We've got our usual Link 2 arrows, 1900 attack, requires any 2 Pendulum monsters, including an Ignite monster, as material.
Basically, it's the same as Nue from Magispectors.
Yeah!
Mm-hmm.
When this card is Link summoned, you can place 1 or 2 Ignite normal Pendulum monsters from your deck in your Pendulum Zone. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck during the turn you use this effect, except Ignite monsters and Draco Slayer monsters. You can target an Ignite Pendulum monster card you control, destroy that target, and if you do, add an Ignition Phoenix from your deck to your hand. Oh, Field Spell Searcher!
I mean, we could, of course, use Majesty Pegasus, but outside of Magispectors, that's a ball ache. Let's be real. You're alright.
I'm so alright. I'm so happy. Ignition Phoenix is so good. But you've all heard me complain about the fact that they just don't name the field spells, so we can't get them. Valor helps with this.
Now, do you know how I felt about Majesty's Pegasus for the longest time?
It is wild. It's absolutely wild.
Hang on a second. Beal Cypher. The main deck Ignite boss monsters are level 7 and 8. Thank you. All right. We have ways around that too.
Yeah, that's another thing that was wild. They gave them boss monsters you couldn't Pendulum. You had to use their effect to pop your cards. Like, that was how they wanted you to do it.
And they were expensive.
Yeah.
Card economy, of course, but yes.
Oh my god.
You can probably purchase. You can probably purchase an Ignite boss monster for the same price as 2 rubber bands and an ice cube. I don't bloody know. Right.
Okay. So yeah, Valor. Great on summon effect. You get your scales set up. Locking you into Ignites and Draco Slayers isn't bad because Draco Slayers have some great monsters, and you've provided a good boss monster for them to go into, so it's not debilitating. Yeah. And
I only have one.
Gets you the field spell.
Yeah, I only have one complaint about this monster in particular. I had to use the American spelling, and it caused me immense psychic damage.
For which name?
Valor. We put U's in these words in where I'm from.
Ooh. Well, why didn't you?
Because, well, it would not be in line with the rest of TCG territories. I don't bloody know.
Oh yeah, like we respect those people.
Consistency. That's all.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. So yeah, very solid Link monster. Like you said, it's the new way for Ignites, and if they needed anything, it was a new way.
Yes. Okay. Last card.
All right. Last one. Ignite Chivalry. You can only control 1 Ignite Chivalry. When this card is activated, you can place 1 Ignite Pendulum monster from your deck or graveyard in your Pendulum Zone. Each time any number of Ignite cards in your Pendulum Zones are destroyed by a card effect, place a counter on this card, maximum 6. Ignite monsters and Draco Slayer monsters you control gain 200 attack for each counter on this card. Once per turn, you can remove any number of counters from this card and apply the appropriate effect. 2. Target an Ignite card in your Pendulum Zone, increase or decrease this card's scale to 9 until the end phase.
There it is. I told you we'd get there sooner or later.
Hey! For the rest of this turn, if you remove 4 counters, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation and effects of your Ignite cards. And if you remove 6, add 2 Ignite normal Pendulum monsters with different names from your face-up extra deck to your hand, then discard a card.
It's a little bit clunkier than I'd like in hindsight, but whatever. Like,
Also, there's something about a group of warrior monsters having a continuous spell that gets them counters that helps mobilize them that just feels right. Like, Gateway of the Six has left an impression on the world, and the more themes that get this kind of card design, I think the better.
I mean, I was trying to make it funny there, but I just couldn't think of any other warrior monster, any other warrior deck that could do that. So
Actually, there isn't. I'm just lying. There's like Karakuri have like the blueprints,
the machines.
and then machines have that like junk thing.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. It just feels good for like a team of monsters. That like it shows like a kind of a teamwork thing. I don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So solid. It gets you a. It's another scale when you play it, so it helps fix that up. It helps get your scales big enough to actually pend things worth a darn, so that you can use your boss monsters more effectively, and of course, get back out your Synchro monster once it lands in the face-up extra deck, along with a bunch of other fiddly utility stuff, which will be useful in certain scenarios. I think it's a pretty good toolbox.
Yes. So, does that bring Ignites up to speed?
I think it does. Ignites were always a good deck insofar as what they enabled other decks to do. Especially as like normal monsters, they have like this weird niche where limiting usages to normal monsters was thought of as a debuff or a handicap. Ignites just bypass that entirely, so they don't care. And
Like
you
being
can still
pendulums.
and you can still access all the regular pendulum stuff too, and then just a whole slurry of material to use with whatever you want. Valor, of course, does limit us to our on-theme nonsense, but we don't have to use Valor's effect every turn. We just got to use it on the turns that count.
Same deal with Niue. We can use Beyond the Pendulum if you're so inclined.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty solid grouping of cards to bring them up to speed. Are there any combos or connections or anything else that we want to highlight before we move on to the Nova scale?
Well, we've got less than 3 minutes, so even if I did, I don't think I would have time. So, I'll just give you a spoiler for next month instead. Let's say I bring Dynamist next month.
Oh, we're just going right through the Draco Slayers.
Because we've got Magispector in the game already. I made this for Ignite. It would feel wrong to leave Dynamist out of it.
Exactly. You know what? I think that's a good idea. I'm looking forward to some new Dynamist cards. Do you have a dinosaur in particular that you're looking to use for him?
Parasaurolophus, I believe.
What's a Parasaurolophus?
I mean, I only learned about them for a UK fake documentary thing. It's called Prehistoric Park. It's pretty cool, actually. Starring Nigel Marvin. In the sixth and final episode, they have Parasaurolophus and Parasaurolophi. Is that how you say it plurally? I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea. Oh, I think I've seen something like this before. One second.
Yes.
Get that image pulled up here.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta show this off to chat. We gotta all see this.
Mm-hmm.
Discord, I banish you.
Oh. Okay, Bestial Dissipator's effect.
God, come on! I always thought these were iguanodons.
No, that's a Parasaurolophus.
Cool. Well, yeah, I love these things. I like their like big ol' like one horn, but they're like little stubby lips, like they're like little big ducks.
Fun fact: that crest is hollow.
Do we know why?
It's pretty a calling thing. I don't remember, but yes.
Well, I'll be. Alrighty. Well, enough dinosaur talk. We're not here to talk about dinosaurs. We're talking about Knights of the Round Explosive Table.
IKEA, I want a refund. My table exploded.
What is the exploding IKEA table's name? What is it?
I don't speak Swedish. Do I look like a man who speaks Swedish?
Well, exactly. Because you don't speak it, you'll be able to make the perfect one.
Give me a minute.
I'm thinking Straken.
Uh, Oh, come on, that's so lame. I just typed bang into Google Translate. It was exactly the same. For fuck's sake.
Wow. Okay.
Uh, Kaboom doesn't work either. Shame. Oh well.
All right. Well, that's enough comedy at the expense of the Swedes. I think it's time for the Nova scale.
Okay.
Okay. So, novelty. We're working with the Ignites. But what's our angle here? We're updating them.
We're trying to make it work,
We're
goddammit.
trying to make it work.
Or
And
why
we
it
are
work on its
using a
own,
lot of tools that we have seen in the past.
and we're not trying to use it as a vehicle for degenerate FTK.
That is true. We are making sure that these get used specifically for Ignites and related Draco Slayer shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Grandmaster is... See, like, I feel like every time we've gone over these, they all feel like we had a parallel that we were playing off of, right?
Yeah.
Grandmaster is like Ignis
Draco.
Prominence.
Ignis
Valor
Prominence
is
or Draco.
Chivalry's like a resource thing.
Slash Magispector wins, or yeah.
And then Page is the only thing that I don't think I have like a direct comparison with.
Well, I was just trying to emulate what I was doing, what Konami was doing with Yamato Arashi in the Magispector thing. Just enable some stuff,
Yeah,
basically.
it just like it slots in exactly with the playstyle, because
yes,
for those of you unaware, all you really do is go Bunbuku, get Yamarashi, and then you just pop off.
And then you either go Beyond the Pendulum or Niue, depends on the hand. But and then you play. Sorry, you play Niue, you get impermed, you say wind. Sorry, you play wind and say eat a bag of dicks, basically.
That imperm is really nice for you to have. It's a shame it's not staying on the field.
Yep. I mean, you botch your pendulum summon by doing it, but you need it to go through.
I'm not. Look, if I'm not gonna let you mess up my plays, I'm gonna mess up my plays. All right.
I'm going out on my terms, but we're getting sidetracked too bloody much now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is a problem with us, Pillock. I just
no.
really enjoy our banter, and I can't have enough of it. I'm sorry. All right, so two in novelty. Just because we're pulling from a lot of established stuff doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that we're using the tools that we know that work.
It's not original, so to speak.
I mean, yeah, that's what that particular one is for. But that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because objectivity, like you said, we're making sure that this sticks to the regular on-theme game plan without breaching containment. It is all too easy for good pendulum cards to seep out into the broader pendulum slurry, and with Valor, you've done a good job of giving us a good tool to enable our plays while making sure we don't deck build in a way that just gets added to part of the menagerie.
Yeah.
Its power level's good. It helps the deck play more like it's supposed to, I feel like, so I gotta give it a 5 in objectivity. I think it's just a good, solid design, not overpowered, and all the problem-solving card text is good.
Apart from the fact I forgot fire on Grandmaster, but whatever, right?
Look, if I wasn't, like, scanning it, I'm pretty sure most people would just assume it's a fire, and they'd be right.
Yeah, and on the mention of overpowered pendulum support, yes, Electrobite, stay where you belong on the ban list.
Yeah, you putz. I don't care what Noajix says. It can never come back.
I mean, as a Valance player, I could do with the extra search of Shinonome, but I can take it or leave it.
All right, so versatility. So despite what we were saying about splashability, the only lock here is Valor, and it is a significant one. I certainly wouldn't build in a way that would spread out to a bunch of different archetypes with Valor as a card, but that doesn't mean it's not useful for other things. The fact that Page is limited to the Synchro and Link summoning of Fire Warriors already immediately means that it has usage in bridging the gap between Ignites and Infernobles. I don't know if Infernobles need the help, but it's a free tuner, and Lord knows they play Turpin for something. This could be a part of it. Any Fire Warrior thing that happens in the future, this can be a part of that.
I mean, you can make a Lavalval X-Lord with this if you feel like it.
Oh, X-Lord. Well, that,
Yeah.
destroy cards, burn for damage.
I'm actually ironically playing that to my Soulless Infernoble at the moment.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always just pegged X-Lord as like a hee hee ha ha funny monster.
Well, if it works, right?
I mean, if it works, it works.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not entirely locked into its own thing. Of course, Grandmaster can only be... The non-tuners have to be Ignite, so you have to be playing that. Though... Oh, I guess the Draco Slayer Ignite monster is itself a tuner, so we can't use it as the non-tuner material.
Sorry, which one? Luster Pend or...
Not Luster Pendulum, those trio of Draco Slayers that are each a member of their core archetype.
Ignition Phoenix, yes.
Ignis Phoenix, yeah. Is that... It's also... It's itself as a tuner, right?
No, but when it blows... When you blow it up, it can summon a Draco Slayer from your deck and then make it a tuner.
Oh, okay. So it can act as the Ignite Pendulum non-tuner material for this. So you could just play this in Draco Slayer pure, but I mean that's a very small breaching containment there. I think that we could I think we could see these kind of being played around a little, especially because, as we've stated previously, Ignites themselves can be teched in every so often in a deck that just wants a whole bunch of material for nonsense. So I'm good with giving these a 3 in versatility.
Cool.
And awesomeness, buddy, it's lore archetype, it's Ignites, they need more cards, and Ignites are really cool and awesome, and they explode, and they search you cards. These cards are awesome. They get a 5 in awesomeness. I love these guys.
Cool. I thought they were hot. Haha, I'm so funny.
Bone damage. Ow, my bones. Alright, so 15 for the Ignite cards. These are really good. These are really solid. I like the thought process that went here. I know that they were built off of the bones of the Magispector support, but I think it is a character to your design capabilities that you're able to take those and apply them to Ignites, because the two are very different decks, despite the fact that they are kind of big pendulum stuff. You made sure that it fit their particular niche, so I thought that was really good.
And I'll fucking do it again!
Yeah, you better.
Right.
Right, anything else you want to talk about before we move on to our next guest?
Alright, not in particular, just stay tuned, we've got something big in the works.
Ooh, buddy.
Yep.
Wait, on here or like in a video, because I know that both of those things are true.
Video in this context, but
God,
yes.
They're so big. The roundup is huge this year, folks. It's Titanic.
It is gigantic, yes.
It's the last roundup we're ever doing, so you have to show up for it.
Yep, do you want to spoil the number of archetypes on it? Oh, hang on a minute. Oh.
What was that?
What just happened?
Who just teleported in on you?
Who activated the emergency teleport?
Zeno, it's not your time yet, Zeno. You haven't. It's not. I haven't.
It's time for next guest.
In fairness, I have overstayed my welcome here, so I'm gonna bail.
Okay.
Also,
goodbye,
for reference, that was the Battle Network Jack in sound.
Right. Okay. See you then, guys. Bye.
Bye. Oh, good grief.
Looks like I accidentally caused some chaos.
Zeno, you're being a little bit of a gremlin right now.
Sorry, I'll set that back. Good. Sorry, you said it was my time, so I was going to hop in ahead of time. Didn't think the Jack in sound would play, since it hasn't been playing for quite a while. It's been going on and off for a while.
Oh, what has?
The sound that played when I entered.
Oh, yeah. That just went like once for us.
Yeah, the point is that it hasn't always been going off when I entered chats.
Oh, okay. That's strange.
Yeah, it's weird.
Alrighty. Well, let me go ahead and pack away this info, and we will get moved over to your cards.
You did do the Nova scale for this, right?
For Pillix?
Yeah.
Yeah. He got a 15.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Where's it? Okay, no, there we go.
They didn't want to cheat. They didn't want to cheat him out of the Nova scale after all.
No. It's the thing people come here for. People need to have numbers assigned to their things. It's a very dystopian thing, but I'm glad to do my part in adding in to this post-apocalypse that we've all found ourselves in.
Yeah, and as part of the whole thing, since this is the last in a set, I did also give you the link to the full showcase.
Yes, and thank you very much. I've got that pulled up on the side here in case we need to give it a look-see at a later date. Though, speaking of which, since this is a continuation, the third, I believe, of the series, do you want to introduce the audience to your, Spectrobes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, this is
card.
Ancient Light. An Xyz-based archetype that is built around tearing your opponent's board apart with the main deck monsters by by way of equivalent exchange of resources, and then swinging for game with the Xyz monsters, while also making use of the effects of the field spells.
With each field spell corresponding to different colors of them, right?
Yeah. Each field spell corresponds to a different Xyz monster.
Sick. Alrighty, let me go ahead and get that pulled up here. I've got the list, and it looks like we're going to be starting with Beast of Indigo, Ancient Light.
Yeah, I was doing this on my phone, so I couldn't remember the full names of some of the cards.
Oh, that's a sick one. Arteza. A rank 4 Water Aqua Xyz monster with 2500 attack and 1500 defense, requiring 2 level 4 Water Attribute Ancient Light monsters as material. While you control a copy of Himuro, the Reflective Indigo Planet, which would be our field spell, this card gains 1000 attack. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. If you do, this card gains the following effect for the rest of the turn. When this card battles an opponent's monster, change the battle position of all other monsters on both fields. If the monster that was battling this card had its battle position changed by this effect, destroy it. Ooh. Okay, now does that activate on damage, on attack declaration, or during damage step?
It's when this card battles the opponent's monster, so it would probably be on attack declaration.
Okay. That is outrageous. So what you're telling me is that if my opponent has 3 monsters, I can attack into them. Their position gets changed. I guess if it's not a Link monster, because otherwise I wouldn't work with them, obviously.
Yeah.
But they change. They automatically get popped.
Well, specifically the monster that this card was battling.
Yeah. So they still have their other 2. But then because we weren't in damage step, that causes a redeclare. So I can attack another one, and because the effect is applied for the whole turn, their battle position changes again. That one that we're attacking gets destroyed. And then we can go into the other one.
Yeah.
I guess if it's on attack declaration, that wouldn't work, because when you redeclare, that doesn't count as an attack declaration, I believe. So maybe that limits it. So I think maybe it's not as powerful as I was thinking beforehand. But it's still a pretty useful effect to just auto-clear something.
Yeah, also, if you're wondering if it would screw around with your own monsters, check Himuro's effect. It's one of the other cards that's on the list.
Alright, Himuro, Reflective Indigo Planet. While this card's always treated as an Ancient Light card. While you control a Water Attribute Ancient Light monster, all Ancient Light monsters you control cannot have their battle positions changed by card effects. So, there you go. And then during the standby phase, it does the usual thing that the planets have been doing. During the standby phase, you contribute this card, activate another Ancient Light field spell from your hand, deck, grave, or that's banished, except a copy of Himuro, the Reflective Indigo Planet. We're planet swapping here, folks.
Yep, or just using the entire solar system at once, in the case of the Cosmosphere.
That's true. Alright, next is Beast of Violet Ancient Light Shula. A dark attribute rank 4 Fiend monster with 2500 attack and 1500 defense, requiring 2 level 4 Dark Attribute Ancient Light monsters as material. While you control a copy of Mado, the Veiled Violet Planet, this card gains 1000 attack. Once per turn, you may detach 1 Xyz material from this card, and if you do, this card gains the following effect for the rest of the turn. When this card deals damage to the opponent, you gain life points equal to the damage taken. Okay. Just vampire our opponent a little bit.
Yes.
Just get a little yum-yum.
In case you're wondering about where the attack directly thing came with for half damage, that's on the planet itself. That's the effect that it gives.
Wait, what do you mean half damage?
Have a look at Ada, the Veiled Violet Planet.
You control all ancient morning monsters you control can attack directly during each battle phase one deal. Oh, okay, so that wasn't part of Shula's effect at all, but the planet helps to accomplish that.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the GX era effect, but instead of being on one monster, it's on every single monster you control that's Ancient Light, as long as you control a Dark Attribute one.
Hell yeah.
So not as low grade as you thought, huh?
I mean, I hadn't known about it until we saw it, so I didn't have any idea.
Fair enough.
But if you need the option for it, it is nice to swing in. It'll be at 3,500 with the field spell, so that's what 1,750 you gain in life points if you hit directly with this.
Yes.
And hitting directly for 3,500 is no joke. That's a Rexstrom hit, I think. That's huge.
Well, you'd be dealing half damage, so it would be hitting for 1,750 directly, but you'd also have all your other monsters capable of attacking directly as well.
Fair. Okay. So that's those two, and that's the 2 planets. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the cards we have here so we can get a idea for what we're messing with. Alright. Samurai of Ancient Light Villamasta, level 4 Dark Insect monster, 1500 attack and defense. You may special summon this card from your hand if you control another Ancient Light card, an effect that every one of these have shared.
Yes.
You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect, except Ancient Light monsters, another thing that they all share. Once per turn, if you control an Ancient Light field spell, you may pay 500 life points to send a monster your opponent controls to the graveyard.
No, it sends them to the graveyard.
It also doesn't target, it looks like, too.
Yeah.
So, that's some pretty powerful removal. Knight of Ancient Light Harumite is a level 4 water insect. Same stats, same effects for special summoning. Once per turn, if you control an Ancient Light field spell, you may pay 500 life points to send a spell or trap card your opponent controls to the graveyard. So that covers the other end of the removal spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Blade of Ancient Light Shakor, level 4 water fish monster. Same stats, same special summon effects. Once per turn, if you control an Ancient Light field spell, you may discard a card to banish 1 card from their field.
Graveyard.
Wow, I'm good at reading. Okay, little less egregious there, but picking cards out of the graveyard is fantastic for ruining a lot of strategies.
Element.
Oh boy, if only you were a quick effect, Shakor. And then the last monster we have here is Observer of Ancient Light Anubos, level 4 Dark Fiend monster. Same stats, same special summon effects. Once per turn, if you control an Ancient Light field spell, you may pay 500 life points to draw a card. Hey!
Yeah, Anubos is like Alba. He's the other way of exchanging the resources for each other.
Okay. And I'm certainly not going to pass up a free draw. I mean, I guess it's not free, but it's 500 life points, so it might as well be free.
Yeah.
Okay. Prophecy of Ancient Light. Continuous spell card. You may only control 1 copy of this card. When this card is activated, put 7 omen counters on it. If you do, you may activate an Ancient Light field spell from your deck. Each time you special summon an Ancient Light Xyz monster, remove an omen counter from this card. Once per turn, you may activate the following effects in sequence based on how many omen counters there are on this card. With 6 or less, gain 500 life points. With 4 or less, draw a card. With 2 or less, special summon an ancient light monster from your grave, and with 0, special summon an ancient light monster directly from your deck. Okay, so we play it, we get 7. And it activates a field spell from our deck too. So we're just pick any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time we access our extra deck, the effect of Prophecy of Light gets better because we're taking out more cards. Or we're taking out more counters.
Yes.
Okay. I like how that's an inversion of the usual thing. Normally decks are all about gaining as many counters as possible. This one is like, we're slowly unleashing the seal around this ancient artifact and we get more power from it.
You could also play Counter Cleaner and target this card.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I get... You know, I'm starting to see the reason why they don't do that more often. Because you just like Counter Cleaner. Big sniffer? Yeah, huge sniffer even. About to put all those counters up my nose.
Yeah. I figured this would be a nice inversion and give an interesting bit of side deck tech if they want to.
What? So that means that you would play Counter Cleaner as, I don't know if I'd call it an engine card, but as like a utility card, and then you automatically have game against decks like Endymion. If you're up against Ursa Arctic, you can take away all the counters from Radiation before they can't draw from them anymore. That's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so that's all the new cards. So while we have time, now that we know everything about the archetype, are there any highlights, any things that we want to talk about here? Any like sticking points that we want to make sure are factored into the final review?
If you wanted, you could just spam it out. You could just play this as a rank 4 spam strategy, specifically focusing on the extra deck of the 7 extra deck monsters.
Yeah, so just play it as a big old rank 4, throw up a bunch of these, make a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah. Which is especially potent with Prophecy, because play that, you get the field spell out, then you can start spamming out the extra deck, your main deck monsters to make the extra deck, and start cleaning up and start removing those counters.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So our main deck guys, aside from just being level 4 material, all have like a little like utility thing, right?
Yeah, so Alba and Anuvo specifically are there to make sure that if you need a different one of your other resources, you can exchange them between each other.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So yeah, that one discards a card to gain you 5, and this one pays 5 to draw you a card. So if you need to make sure your life points are a certain way, you can just swap those around.
Mm-hmm. All the others, though, are all about destroying your opponent's board.
Just rip out those cards. Get them out of here.
Yep.
Okay, I gotta reread the Cosmosphere really quickly, because I remember the general idea of all the planets just kind of like help out their like attribute extra deck monster, but I forget how Cosmosphere factors in. So it's ancient light card, so it helps with all of our effects that requires to have one. While you control an ancient light monster, all of your monsters gain 500 attack, so it's like a generic attack boost.
And it doesn't even need to be an Xyz monster.
No, just any of your ancient lights. And then during the standby phase, you contribute this. And it also has the same way to swap around. So Prismatic Cosmosphere is the generic field spell that helps out everyone. And then we can tag it into whichever planet it helps out an Xyz monster that we have deployed.
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 of these. Which attribute have we doubled up on? Light. It's light.
Yeah, because I had Fulvina be basically generic when it comes to attributes specifically for its materials.
Okay, okay.
Also note, 7 planets, 7 omen counters.
Yep. I was looking over that, being all like, "Is there a divine one around here? Am I missing something?" But no, we just have 2 lights.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay.
Honestly, if it weren't for the fact I'm very much averse to even considering adding divine, I probably would have added a divine in there.
I think you made a good idea. I know that sometimes I rag on things for not using divine as an attribute, but there is a reason why the god cards are so iconic. It's one of those things that we ask for, but we should probably never get. So I think you're on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, well, I think we've got a pretty good picture of all these little goofuses. Should we move on to the Nova scale?
Of course.
Alrighty, so novelty. For the Ancient Lights, we have a big level 4 strategy that's all about just playing a whole bunch of on-theme monsters. Each one comes with a little extra bonus. As long as you have the associated field spell, they range from removing cards to drawing cards, all kinds of utility stuff. And that all folds into a bunch of Xyz monsters that all have specific field spells they need to use for their abilities, and that's where a lot of our toolboxing comes from. We have life gain, we have attack power boosting. We got.
Yep.
I remember Zorna was ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm. As long as you have cards in your graveyard, you can just keep on doing it. And since you're detaching material, you're guaranteeing that you have at least one negate in there.
Yeah, so that's some absolutely incredible stuff we have access to. So the big level 4 deck is something that we've seen before in the past. Being very focused on the field spells is also something that we've seen, but I don't think we've seen it to this degree before. Having, 8 different planets?
7 planets and one representing the solar system.
Or 8 field spells, I should say, rather. Just 8 of those that you need to be swapping around constantly to make sure you have the correct ones to make full use of your Xyz monsters. That's kind of wild. So I think we can get a 2 on novelty. We have seen the rank 4 strategy beforehand, but the audacity of the 8 field spells is like just by dint of its scope deserves recognition on that.
Yeah. And also the fact they can swap the field spells on the opponent's turn.
Yeah, so you have a lot of flexibility on all that. Alright, objectivity. So, the rank 4 strategy has proven to be very strong in the past. It's not quite as powerful as it was in the past, but these ones are really strong. All of them, once you get one on the field, all of them you can summon from your hand for free. All of them have a really cool effect that you can use once you have a field spell established, and you have a lot of field spells, so you're probably going to draw into at least one of them, or the terraforming.
And once you have one of them, you have all of them.
Yeah, because they'll just cycle in between them as needed. The only issue is that, aside from Fulvina, all of these require like attributed versions, and I think there's only 2 of each, right?
Yeah.
So Fulvina is going to generally be our card, and I forget, do any of our spells like search specific Ancient Lights?
No, but one of them does summon out another. But one of our main deck monsters does summon out another.
Okay, so outside of the one monster, and depending on which one it is,
it's our fire.
It's you can add it. Spiken can also search it out.
Yep.
Discard a card. And that's a Beast Warrior. So you can get it with Tenki. So never mind. Actually, the correct attributes that we need for any given time is actually really, really accessible. So,
and let's also not forget that we also have the one right next to it that's fire attributes can also special summon another one.
And just special summons. So, so we have 2 monsters that can help with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, our Xyz monsters are supremely accessible, and their power levels vary wildly. Shula, I would argue, is probably on the lower end. Gaining life points and with the field spell attacking directly is some pretty good aggro, but I wouldn't call that, game breaking.
Yeah,
Um,
that's more. That's more if you want to win in time.
and I think we said this last time this came up. Zorna being a non once per turn card effect negation that does not activate. You have to activate it to apply the effect, but the negation happens on resolution. Is horrifying. I'm scared of what this does to any format it exists in by itself.
Well, to be fair, it is limited in the fact that you need 2 wind attribute ancient light monsters.
Oh yeah, and beforehand, I was all ready to say that this is like a niche card that doesn't see a lot of play in it because any individual Ancient Light Xyz monster is difficult to make because of the attribute requirements. But you throw Kumanoto and Spiken into it, both of which, at least Spiken being easy to search out with Tenki, but Komodo being another 3 of you can play, that just gets you all that material together, makes it a lot more likely that you can get your wind ones into rotation and absolutely lock your opponent out of the game. I'm very scared about
To be
this.
fair, though, that is only like a limited amount of turns they can do on that per Zorna.
That's true. You can make Zorna on your turn. If you're going first, you can wait for your opponent's draw phase and activate this, and then activate it on your turn, at which point you kill your opponent. If you go first, or if you go second, you just play this on your own turn, lock your opponent out of responding to you with stuff, and then you kill them because we're made up of a bunch of level 4s that make fairly high statted rank 4 monsters with planets that give them outrageous effects. So,
Would you believe me if I said that this will start to get even more toolboxy with the planets once they make that support?
objectivity is a little I'm going to put a 3 in objectivity. There is the issue where if we use any of their summons, we are locked into our archetype specifically, so we're not going to be able to toolbox in anything outside of us.
Yeah, but once they make that support, that's going to be a lot more planets to toolbox in because I base a lot of their effects on existing field spells.
So yeah, 3 in objectivity. I'm very scared about what these things can accomplish. Versatility. That's a difficult one, right? Because you need to commit a lot of main deck space for the particular planets if you want to play all of them.
Yeah, luckily you only really need to play 1 copy of each, really.
Oh yeah, but that's still 8. That's almost a quarter of your entire deck size. So that's a huge deck building investment to just put the planets in there. Not even talking about the monsters. So the follow-up question would be, could you splash individual ones or pairs of them into a deck to give you some kind of bonus? And I guess it depends on if the deck searches out field spells. Like, we're seeing cards that just grab field spells generically. So there are some that just remove cards like Shimamoto. I could see certain decks running the ability to search the Earth-oriented planet, get Shimamoto, and then just banish a card our opponent controls. It does lock us out of Ancient Light, anything but Ancient Light monsters. But if you're a stun deck, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And plus, also the fact that if you can get 2 Earth ones out, which, well, Tenki exists, you can get Spike in and then get Shimamoto. Then there's the Earth Xyz monster they can work with.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, it's not, despite the restriction, it's not entirely locked into its own theme. So I'd give it a 2. It's hard to look a bunch of good level 4 monsters in the face and say that they can't be used in other random things. So,
And also the fact that Alba and Anubis are a thing. If you want to just draw more cards or get more life points, you can use one of those.
that is true. It's only the summon effect that locks you out of summoning off-theme monsters. If you just want to use their own specific effect, that's totally on brand if you have the field spell to activate the effect. Heck, you could just, if you wanted to do that, you could just run Nero, because that'll give all of your monsters a 500 point boost as long as you have one of the Ancient Lights. So that's a generically nifty card. So you know what? I'm going to bump it up to a 3. With smart play, you could randomly play these in other decks. I'm sure of it.
And there's also the fact that if you just run Counter Cleaner, you can make the Prophecy one even. You can use Prophecy to get stuff easily.
And the Prophecy summons do not lock you, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, they don't.
No, okay, so that oh, wow, okay. Yeah, so 3 in versatility, 3 in objectivity, 2 in novelty. And then, awesomeness. Look, these planets kick ass. I love looking at all of them. Himuro is now my new favorite. They're a really cool expression of the
also,
deck.
Get this. Himuro outright prevents your opponent from Book of Taioing or Book of Mooning you.
Yeah, because they can't change their position. Sorry, Book of Eclipse. So yeah, I gotta give it a 5. I think it's a really cool expression of the game. I think you put a lot of thought into how each planet interacts with the Xyz monsters, and how those Xyz monsters would end up being bosses for the deck. I think that was really cool. So thank you, Xeno, for your contribution. These are pretty sweet. I hope you enjoy your 13 for your Ancient Lights.
Yep, I got above a 10, which was my goal.
Well, hey, so good job doing 30% better than what you thought.
Yeah.
Most people only do about 5 to 10% better than they think. So that's a great range.
Anyways, right now I'm going to be going into my last semester of college and then starting next week.
Oh, good luck.
I'll need it.
All right, well, I'm sending you all the positive vibes. Good luck with college, and I will see you next time to look at more of your wondrous concoctions.
Thanks.
All right,
see you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Alrighty. Yeah, that blur was weird. I just checked. The camera thing had all the auto settings put back on, which I always turn off, and then they always want it to turn back on because it hates me, I guess. So thank you for pointing that out. Alrighty, so we've got our last series of I'm already seeing that one of them is a meme, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it through. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through. Herbal D always makes the funniest cards. But before we take a look at those, I did see that we had some redeems. I'm gonna go ahead and get those taken care of, so as not to keep them waiting in there. Meme archetype? It could be. Generally, Herbal makes us a bunch of really funny one-offs, but if it's an archetype, oh boy. Okay, so that was a while ago. Okay, so Knight C paid 2,000 channel points for an orbital platform announcement. Good morning and welcome to the Orbital Platform, where Magical Musketeer is the best story lore because it's based on a German opera. That is true. It has been a while since we covered it, so I forget exactly what the name is, but it does involve the devil giving a marksman magical bullets, and of course, that always ends well. Making deals with devils is supporting your local Diabloist, which is very important. Also, Shauna Hart paid 1,000 channel points so that our good mascot, Trihorn Dragon, would say, "Someone please give me some bits! Ojama Yellow tasted really bad! I mean, Ojamas are part of a healthy diet. They're strangely nutritious, but, oh man, it's like having to eat vegetables for everything. I don't want vegetables! I want bits! They taste like chocolate chips! Yeah!" Good kid, good kid. Alright, cool. The redeems have been satisfied. Now let's move on to Herbal D's cards. He's got 5. Let's give him a look-see. I'm ready to be horrified. Okay. First up is Elpy Dragon 3. This is some kind of pun. I don't know what it is yet. So, it's a level 3 Wind Dragon monster with 1,357 attack and 1,753 defense. If this card is summoned, you can inflict 1 damage to your opponent if your opponent has odd life points. No. You can inflict 1 damage to your opponent. If your opponent has odd life points, you can inflict 2 instead. If your opponent has odd life points, you can special summon 1 Elpy Dragon monster from your hand or deck except Elpy Dragon 3, then you can draw a card. You can only use this effect of Elpy Dragon once per turn. Shawnhar, thank you for the 10 bits. Tryon Dragon's gonna have some delicious chocolate chips with that. Chocolate chip bits, if you will. You cannot summon non-Elpy Dragon monsters the turn you activate either of these effects. You cannot activate the effects of this card if it was special summoned, sent to the graveyard from the deck, or banished by the effect of a dragon monster except a Wind Dragon effect monster that has LPU Dragon in its original name and has 1350 original attack or defense until the end of the turn. Cannot be used as material for the summon of a non-LPU Dragon monster except if the other materials are LPU Dragon monsters. Oh yeah, LPR Dragon, you're right. I was too ood brained. LPR Dragon. Yeah, I don't even know what this text does. I've got to read it again so that I'm just fully aware of what we're talking about. I'm just stuck on the pun. Like, what's LPR Dragon supposed to... LPR Dragon? I have no clue. If I say it over and over again enough, someone will clip it, and then someone will be all like, I can't believe they made Nova say this. Oh, LP odd, like life points. No, it's life points. It's very clearly that. Oh god. All right. Someone help me up. Someone help me up. Thank you. Okay, if it's summoned, deal 1 damage to your opponent. If they have odd life points, deal 2 instead. If your opponent has odd life points, special summon an LP Odd Dragon monster from your hand or deck, except this card, then draw a card. You can only use this effect once per turn. You cannot summon non-LP Odd Dragon monsters the turn you activate either of these effects. So you can still summon any other type of monsters, just not dragon monsters that are not LP dragons. You cannot activate the effects of this card if it was special summoned, sent to the grave from the deck, or banished by the effect of a dragon, except a Wind Dragon effect monster that has LP Odd Dragon in its original name and has these stats, until the end of the turn. Cannot be used as material for a not... Oh, okay. So I suppose these are just meant to... this card cannot be touched by an off-theme monster... Because you're not getting... Not at all. You're never going to get it. You're never going to do it. Okay. LP Odd Dragon 4. D-Link never heard of them executes. Yeah, so we can't play it with Dragon Link. Okay. Level 4 Wind Dragon Tuner monster with 1,753 attack and 1,357 defense. If this card was summoned, you can make your opponent gain a life point. If they have 2, they gain 2 instead. If your opponent has odd life points, you can add an LP Odd Dragon card that is banished or is in your grave to your hand. Then you can special summon an LP Odd Dragon monster from your grave, except a copy of this card. You can only use this effect, I assume they mean 4 once per turn. A synchro monster that used this card as material gains the following effect. If the difference between your life points and your opponent's is odd, this card cannot be targeted by the effects of your opponent's cards. You cannot summon non-LP Dragon monsters. Okay, and then all that same text we talked about earlier that keeps this only on theme. Oh, God. Oh, this is a quagmire. LP Odd Dragons Heat Wave. Continuous spell card. Once per turn, inflict 1 damage to your opponent. If you control a Wind Dragon effect monster that has LP Odd Dragon in its original name and has 1,357 original attack or defense, you can use this effect up to 200 times. Apply the following effects depending on the value of your opponent's life points. If they're even, your opponent must pay 1 life point to activate card effects. If it's odd, Wind Dragon effect monsters you control that has LP Odd Dragon in its original name and has 1357 original attack or defense cannot be destroyed by your opponent's cards. Wow. Okay, so this is here to manipulate life point values, and then because if it's even, they pay 1 life point, it's going to change to odd, so it's going to make your opponent pay a life point, which in the grand scheme of things just means that it will gain the effect where now that it's odd, it does stuff. Imagine this in Master Duel. I don't wanna! Oh, I don't want to! Oh my god. Okay. LP Odd Dragon's Gust. Normal spell card. If you control no monsters, or the only monsters you control are non-dragon monsters, except Wind Dragon effect monsters that have LP Odd Dragon in its original name and has 1350 original attack or defense, add an LP Odd Dragon card from your deck to your hand. If you take damage, banish this card from your graveyard to gain 2 life points. If your life points are odd, you can gain life points equal to the damage taken instead. Winning in time by 1 life point is so wild. It's just like excavating for 200 times. Golly. This doesn't even summon. It wants you to have no monsters or like the fucking other requirement, just a search. Good gravy. Okay. Okay, LP Odd Dragon 7. Level 7 Wind Dragon Synchro Monster with 2,465 attack and 1,357 defense. If this card was synchro summoned using a Wind Dragon effect monster that has LP Odd Dragon in its original name and has 1350 original attack or defense as material, it gains attack equal to the highest original attack of an LP Odd Dragon monster on your field or in your graveyard except itself. If your opponent has odd life points, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each during each battle phase. If the difference between your life points and your opponent's is even, quick effect, special summon an LP Odd Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard. If the difference between your life points and your opponent's is odd, target one card your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn. Okay, so gains attack equal to the highest original attack of an LP Odd Dragon monster on your field or graveyard except itself. So if you had a different LP Odd Dragon on board for this thing to take attack power from, it would have 4,930 attack, which is an even number. Now, what if it was LP Odd Dragon number 4? This is 2465 plus 1753. That would make it 4,218. Is a Dragon Ball reference. Is it just a Dragon Ball reference because of the number 7, or is there something else I'm missing? Clear. If we 2465 plus, what if this is the only one that can draw from? 1357. Oh, its attack boost is always going to give it an even number. Oh, I hate that. It's a Dragon Ball Flash math game? What? Huh? No shot. No. I need a name. Custom cards have truly, I only attract the best connoisseurs of custom card creation. Name is I made it up. Shut up! I knew it! Dragon Ball Math Flash game. Come on. Okay, fucking, it has the vibes. I would believe that you would put this as like clip art for a Flash game though. That's part of the reason why I was like, damn, Jerry might be onto something. Jerry might be cooking. Okay, so someone asked the question, if you attack with it and it changes the value, would the effect change? The answer is yes. If the life points are odd, which would cause the multi-attack, if you hit something and the life points are now even, it now changes to this other effect, where you could quick effects summon a LP Ood Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard, which would trigger either of these effects to change our opponent's life point value, which would then make it odd again, and so we could continue to do that. We gotta end custom card review. If there's a broadcast order of these, I'm gonna make sure that this is the last episode. I'm not gonna stop, but I will talk with the distributors on this. We will make sure this is the finale. There's no way around it. This is just the perfect card. But the interesting thing about this, though, is that, like we found out, If LP Odd Dragon gains attack power from any of these sources via its first effect, its attack will end up being an even number. And that blows. But because of that, if our opponent's life points are odd, attacking with LP Odd Dragon will always cause them to have an odd amount of life points because there are no monsters with an attack or defense stat that is in the ones digit. So as long as it's any of those, as long as it's any of the boosts that gives us a point in the ones digit, it will never change from being an odd number if it started as an odd number when we started attacking. It also means it'll never turn into an odd number if it's not, so we can't brute force our way through it, but that's what other monsters are for. Need to know how much alcohol was drunk and how much I am calling on Herbal D to make a public announcement on what heinous acts went into creating this. I need the documentary on the creating of LP Odd Dragons. Imagine plays against Dino Morpheus. Stop. Okay, okay, it's Nova scale time. Novelty 5. A mechanic built entirely around whether or not an opponent's life points are even or odd, your relationship to that, and what your life point total is so far beyond the Ken that it has to be a 5. All right, objectivity. So, oh shoot. I'm coming to the realization about what Herbal D is doing right now, actually. I think I now see why this was created. Okay, so hear me out. Since this project started, for almost a year now, we've been doing the custom card reviews. And while I have said at all times that the goal is not to get a perfect 5 in all of these categories, because they're contradictory to each other, this has not stopped people from trying to obtain the perfect score. And yet, I feel like we might be on the cusp. Objectivity. The problem-solving card text here is perfect. It's immaculate. The fact that these cards are dragons, but are so specifically worded as to avoid being used in the best dragon deck ever, means it's not helping a giant busted strategy. However, its power level is also not that bad. LP Odd Dragon 7 can get big and attack multiple times. So does Boral Sword Dragon. So I think objectivity is a 5. Versatility. I'm going to skip versatility for a second. Awesomeness. Now, I was laughing. I enjoyed it. It's got memes. It's got math. It's got Charizard. I think I gotta give it a 5. Okay, Lemon. Point out an issue here. I need you to proofread this. Tell me what's wrong. Because you are standing between a perfect score, the first perfect score, a score that I specifically set up in a way that no one could get it, you are standing in the way of someone reaching that goal. I need you to tell me what's wrong with these so that I can smite this, so that we can solve this problem. Okay, is there anything aside from the capitalization issues? Because you know, I wish that I could take off points for capitalization. I really wish that I could, but not even Yu-Gi-Oh is consistent about that. So I can't in good conscience sit here and say that that's a point deduction. Charizard used Will-O-Wisp. Target has burned. Target took one damage. So we can solve this problem. I have a question. Will it be odd or even? It's going to be very odd. No matter what, it's going to be odd. Good stealth rocks. Do commas count as well for punctuation? Commas are important for deducing whether or not something works in a particular way. Commas are part of the syntax. Oh, folks. Oh, I think we're in trouble. Oh, folks, I think we're in trouble. I think we're in a big heap of trouble. Because... Can you send me the dueling book image? I can't read the cards. Hey, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Here, I'll just send you the link. I will send you that so you can take a look at it. You can review it to your heart's content. The then special summon. On which card? Rex. Then you can draw one card. Is it this one? Because I think they have the comma here. Then you can draw one card. Like, that's fine. Charizard used False Swipe. Target took 99 damage. The target has 1 HP left. That's an odd amount! That's an odd amount! They draw a card. Yeah, they don't need to have a comma in this one. That's fine. That's perfect. Wind Dragon effect monsters would not. That is true. That is true. They wouldn't need to have the commas in there, and that would... If they were trying to do cards that were each separate one, it would have to be Wind, Dragon, or Effect Monster. 3 has a lock on it, right? Yeah. And that's not, it's specifically doing a LP Odd Dragon, so it would be except a Wind Dragon effect monster that has LP Odd Dragon. The question is, do the commas there detract from the effect? Like, does it make it act differently? I wonder what changes there if you put the commas there. Obviously, you wouldn't do it, but I wonder if that actually does change anything. But it doesn't say or on there. And I don't know if there's a lot of implying going on in problem-solving card text. If it wasn't or, they'd put an or in there to be that. card cannot be targeted by the effects of your opponent's cards. Well, I mean, I guess the way that would normally be put is this card can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. But, you know, chat's already figured it out, actually. Because we lock ourselves out of the usage of the dragon monsters that aren't LP dragons, this does mean that we can't use it in Dragon Link. So it is a 4, so it's getting a 19 on the Nova scale. Maybe an 18 if we're being really granular about this. So no, it is not a perfect score. Nice try, Herbal. I saw what you were doing here, but you're gonna have to try a little bit harder to get out of this one, buddy. All right. We're safe. We're fine. We're fine. We're safe. We're good. We're all safe. We didn't break the record. We still do not have a perfect score. How much HP did you have? Ooh, buddy, you're not gonna like the answer to that. Alrighty. Wow. This was goofy, outrageous. I'm gonna upload the custom card streams. Yes, I'm gonna. I think I just gotta change over to that and to the VOD channel, and I can get the first one uploaded. I know I got that one exported. Okay, so 18 on the Nova scale for the LP Odd Dragons. Valiant attempt. Herbal. But not this time. Okay, well, that was outrageous. Just a horrifying conglomeration of cards. That's everyone that I have on the schedule today, but we've only been streaming for an hour and a half, and I would not be upset to handle anyone else's submissions if they want to go ahead and get theirs out of the way right now. It'll help keep my schedule for future days open. And the only thing that I've got to do today is finish up this video that I do need to get done, but I'm getting pretty close to it. Tragic already, that's fine. If you want, I can do it. I can get Blitz on here. Wolves on Fire. Let me get my list pulled up here. Zabading, Zabazoo. Wolf is on Fire. Could you remind me what your Discord name is? I just want to talk about stuff. Well, I sadly needed to be people who are going to be presenting, so I can't do that one. But I do appreciate having you around. Not sure if my submission went through or did it. No, Jackalow, I have you down for tomorrow. Borger. Okay, Borger. Yeah, that would be really good. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and throw an ad on here. I'm going to go get rehydrated. Going to do all that good stuff, and then we'll be back. And then we will talk about blitzes, and then we will talk about Wolf is on Fire. So don't no one go nowhere. We've got some more custom cards coming up real soon. So see you in a second. There we go. That looks like I've got everything all put together. Okay, see y'all in just a bit. All right, folks. How's that chair looking? I just came back and saw Lemon went insane when it happened. Oh man, I gotta watch the VOD. I must have. Yeah, it was wild. 200 times per turn. Good grief. Some of y'all are fantastic. You know that? Did you know that? Because I hope you know that. Get this sorted up here. Ba-dum ba-dum. Thinking of changing the number of cards this month from 6 to 8. Well, like I said, we can only guarantee 5, but if we get through them, then through them quickly enough, then we can look at as many as we can in that time period. Hey, Vam, how's it going? We are just talking about just some heinous cards. Just some truly ridiculous nonsense. Let's go ahead and get people's badges all put together. I guess you don't need a badge blitz because you're just a mod, so you can just sneak right in.
Yeah, this was an accident. I
Oh.
was talking to the people in the patron chat, and I was trying to disconnect, but they moved the button recently. I think just something happened, and I clicked on this one.
Alrighty, well, just one moment. I'm gonna get the other person their role.
Also, and this is going to be a spoiler warning. Spoilers for and full late game stuff. The original Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, if you have not
Nothing else.
If you have not played Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and you want to go in there without info, don't watch this. Just go away. I don't think I want to see you.
And
I
then
don't think I
come
want
back-
you to deal with that. Sorry, go ahead.
And then come back 15 minutes later to watch the rest of the stream.
Oh, okay, yeah, also do that. That's a great idea actually. Okay. I've got everything. Restarting that. Let's go ahead and move over to that's enough spoiler time. Whoa, look at all these cool characters.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
And most of these were just happening because I was designing Xenoblade 2 cards, and then my brain was just thinking, but wait, what if I did this?
What if I also made it for an entirely separate game? I guess entirely separate is a misnomer.
Yeah. Not technically prequel because they're different plots, but like it's number 1 and the number 2, so
the relation between the two of them is kind of difficult to
anyway,
what is it? Disconnect. Anyway, go ahead.
there isn't really like any specific game plan or synergy here. I just made some effects and potentially a win con if you're playing against Egyptian god cards.
Okay. Alrighty, well, let's get into this. It looks like we're going over the side deck specifically.
Yes.
Alrighty. First up is the field spell, the Great Living God. When this card is activated, place the Great Machine God from your deck face up in your opponent's field zone. Warrior, Beast, Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters gain 500 attack and defense, and once per turn during the main phase, the turn player can special summon a card that mentions Divine Soul of the Living God from their deck, but they cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn this effect is activated.
That stipulation applies to basically every single monster in the main deck. And the Great Machine God is the exact same effects, only for thematically the Mechonis related cards.
So, I assume that Machine is part of that.
Yes.
What other ones would be a part of that?
I think I listed Cybers and the Tithe Boost.
Okay, but just those two.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, makes sense. Better than throwing in random stuff like making the fish work or something. Unless there are some fish Mechonis I should know about.
No.
Okay, all right.
At least not in this game.
All right. So next up is Heir of Living Divinity, a level 3 light warrior monster with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. If there is a face-up machine-type monster on the field, you can equip a Divine Soul of the Living God from your deck or graveyard to this card. Once per turn, if this card is equipped with a Divine Soul card, you can look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, then put them back in the same order, and if you do, declare one card name. Cards and effects of cards with a declared name are negated until your second end phase after this effect's activation. That's actually a really cool way to use like show off the Monado visions. That's actually really cool.
Originally, I was going to make a series of cards for them, and then I realized that was dumb, and I could just do this.
No, yeah, that covers it, because you as the player have your own series of actions you can use to fight against that knowledge, and the fact that it doesn't change them is very important. You have to be the one that plans around the eventuality happening. So, yeah, that's actually really solid. Good job.
I mean, it doesn't say you have to declare one of the cards revealed, so it's just a
That's
prohibition.
True.
But
that's true. You can pick an
hey.
entirely different thing.
But hey, if you want to declare like a 10,000-year-old turtle, go ahead.
Sure. Why, is that some kind of animal Bionis? It's so big.
And then these last 3 contribute not a win con, but I had to put these all towards something. So
Alrighty, well, let's see what this has got. Divinity Drive Essence is a level 5 light fairy monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense. Visa support. Click.
oh, oops. I forgot that.
Dog, did you just print Vicious Astrolabe material in my chat? Banned. Alright. So, if a face-up monster you control is destroyed, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, you can add a Divine Soul card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Okay. Just get some Divine Souls.
Alvis be handing out the funny swords. That is the plot of the game.
It is kind of the plot of the game. Oh, okay. Remind me, because I only played through the ending once. Alvin was like the AI on the station that just became like the whole universe's like background computer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I remember that correctly. All right. Next up, hey, a Divine Soul card. The True Divine Soul. Equip spell card. This card cannot be activated unless Divinity Drive Essence is on the field. The equipped monster's attribute becomes divine. If the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, negate all other card effects on the field until the end of the damage step. Also, damage calculation for this battle uses each monster's original attack and defense. If the Great Machine God and or the Great Living God are in a field zone and you control a Heir of Living Divinity, you can discard this card, send all cards in the field zones to the graveyard, then place a field spell from your deck or grave onto the field zone.
And there is an intended target for this. The next immediate card.
Realm of Boundless Sky. This card cannot be activated. Just not
Notably,
happening.
the equip spell places, it doesn't activate. I
Yeah.
think that's how that works.
No, yeah, you can do that. You can place cards without them activating. So that's how we do it. All monsters you control gain 700 attack and defense. Negate the effects of all divine monsters in either player's possession.
Because this world has no need for gods.
Not a one. Hell yeah. No, I dig. So I get most of True Divine Soul's effects. The fact that you discard this, like you're denying the usage of it to put this into play to create that world. This block of text right here, if the equip monster battles, what's that supposed to represent?
You kill the big gods, and so you have the best sword.
Okay, I dig.
I believe the text specifically is copied off of a modified version of Forbidden Scripture, which does basically the exact same thing.
Yeah, that was very familiar, so that's why I was curious. It's like, this is being used for something. This isn't being built from whole cloth, so how is that factoring in? Yeah, that makes sense. Alrighty. Well, we still have plenty of time left on the clock. Is there anything else that we want to focus on?
Maybe look at some of the other Divine Soul cards.
Alrighty. Divine Soul of the Living God. Equip spell card. This card can only be equipped to Heir of Heir of Divinity. The equipped monster's attribute becomes divine. Negate the effects of any card with the same name as a machine monster the equipped monster battles until the end phase. Non-machine monsters the equipped monster's battles are not destroyed by that battle. Awesome. Good idea.
You can't hurt people with the Monado.
Not yet. Okay, Divine Soul of the Machine God, equip spell. This card can only be equipped to Heir of Mechanical Divinity. The equipped monster's attribute becomes divine and can attack twice during each battle phase. If the equipped monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage.
You can attack twice because there are two swords.
That's the power of Lady Myneth.
And this one, which isn't from Xenoblade 1, it's from like the little extra thing you get with Definitive Edition.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it only exists because Chill built himself a new Monado.
I'm just building more Divine Souls.
It's not like a super like powerful magic one. It's just like, oh, it's a cool laser sword.
Yeah. Hey, I'm down with having cool laser swords. Alrighty, and okay, there it is. Great Machine God. Yeah, exact same thing, just with machines and cybers.
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
Notably, it has far fewer targets.
just a smidge less. Unfortunately, machines and cybers are fucking huge.
Yeah, but that's the attack boost. The attack boost doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially in cybers, you're just update jammer access coding.
Yeah, but that was already winning the game anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Heir of Mechanical Divinity, level 4 Earth Machine Monster with 2100 attack and 1200 defense. When this card is summoned, equip a Divine Soul of the Machine God from your deck or grave to this card. During the end phase, if this card is not equipped with a Divine Soul card, destroy this.
Slightly above average attack power at the cost of being dependent on an equip spell, which is accurate.
Oh yes, it is. Okay, I can't wait to see what Dunban's effect is. I've got some ideas here. Throwing this out here. He has a way to bypass the equip restriction on Soul of the Living God.
Not quite, but
you can
in
reveal
that
a Divine
spirit.
Soul of the Living God in your hand. This card's name becomes Heir of Living Destiny until your next standby phase after activation. It does do that. I mean, it does it by being it, but that counts.
Yeah.
If a card equipped to this card is destroyed, this card loses 300.
Because after the effect wears off, it notices that it's equipped to the wrong thing and explodes.
It explodes! And that arm is never being used ever again. No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's just it.
Alright. Okay. Legendary Hero Porn! Ricky!
Uh,
Level 2, Earth Beast Warrior, 800 attack, 2100 defense. At the start of the battle phase, gains 700 life points for each card you control that mentions Divine Soul of the Living God or Divine Soul of the Machine God. You can only use this effect once per turn.
you just get life points.
He's just a little support guy.
Yeah.
Just grab his little chomper. Just chomp your kneecaps. Alrighty, Queen of the Future. Level 3 Winged Beast monster with 1300 attack and 1500 defense. You can discard all cards in your hand, minimum 1. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field until the end phase, except ones that mention Divine Soul of the Living or Machine God. You can only use this effect once per turn. All face-up monsters you control gain 100 attack and defense for each card you control.
The first effect references Mind Blast. The second effect is her elemental buffs.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's Mind Blast is one that like uses up.
Art Seal and rips out auras.
Got it.
So that they can't do stuff. But it is hard to trigger because you got to get her talent gauge up, so that's why the cost is high.
Oh yeah, makes sense. All right, folks. You got to say it with me. You got to do it. Cuz you know what time it is, right?
It's
Rhine time. Woo! Can love this man. Rhinebow, Lord of Time. A level
Can't
4.
have a rainbow without Rhine.
No. Anyone? Level 4 Earth Warrior monster, 1700 attack, 1900 defense. Your opponent cannot target monsters you control that mention Divine Soul of the Living God with card effects or for attacks, except this card, truly showing off his top tier tank status.
Notably, if you have 2 of them, that is the targeting lock.
Hell yeah! Alright, and lastly we have Sharpshot Survivor, level 3 water spellcaster, 1200 attack, 1900 defense. If this card has 3 or less heat counters, you can roll a 6-sided die. Place a heat counter on this card, then if you roll a 6, send a card on the field to the graveyard. During the end phase, if you control a card that mentions Divine Soul of the Living God, remove all heat counters from this card.
Now, Ricky already had the healing effect. So I decided to reference something else stupid she does. Headshots instant death chance.
But then she has that heat mechanic, which just makes her so problematic.
This effect is also not once per turn.
No, so you can try this, 4 times per turn?
Yes.
Once you have 0, and then 2, 1, 2, and then 3. So, hey. The odds are in your favor to get at least 1 piece of removal. We love gambling. Gambling! That's not true. You're not paying anything. This is all upside, wink. Alright, well, I think these are cool. This was good. Did you have fun making these? Because it looks like fun.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Alrighty, is there anything else that we want to cover or bring up before we move on to the the grading time?
Just as a reminder, all of the field spells do summon them straight out of the deck, but put you at an extra deck lock. So that is like the main power play of the deck. Summon anything you want at the cost of your extra deck.
I could probably think of some things that might like that. Just some stun decks. You know how stun decks are.
Or Flu, which I guess is a stun deck.
But if you're special summoning a winged beast from your deck with the Great Living God, then they're not going to have a good time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's only after, right? Or is it the entire turn?
I believe it's the entire turn. I can double check it right now. Fluanderies. And the horrible play patterns. Okay, Eaglin. If this face-up card... You can only use each of the following effects of Eaglin once per turn, and you cannot special summon during the turn you activate either of these effects. So it checks
Okay.
before and after.
Well, I guess like maybe Yosenju? Yosenju might like this. Give all the karma
Yeah,
stat
because
buffs and
they'll pen from the hand. They don't want to pen from the extra
yeah.
deck.
Yeah, even the big guys, they bounce back to the hand.
Yeah, so yeah, you know what? Yeah, Yosenju's, they'll play this. They don't have a field spell. Yeah, they don't even have one. So yeah, they would play that. Yosenju players, here you go. This is your thing. Alrighty. So novelty. That's the thing, right? You've already said that this deck isn't geared towards doing anything. They're just meant to emulate the characters.
Yeah. I mean, you probably could pull off some OTKs with a combination of the frankly kind of high buffs off of Queen off of Melia, off of Fiora's double attack. So that might do something.
I think in terms of novelty, I think we have to give it a 5 because the eclectic grouping of effects here don't really line up with a lot that we've seen before, and the linchpin of we have cards that are anti-god card support is kind of wild. So I think I got to give it a 5.
I mean, it was mostly just we already had a mechanic for god beings, so I used it.
Yeah. And then you decided, hey, cool, we're gonna just throw a wrench into all of that.
Also, I think this might negate Dark Infant's effect if they pick Divine. The field spell might. The third one that
Heck.
negates all divine monsters in their
So
possession.
it would turn it back into a regular one, which at that point would, I don't know if that continuously, I think it just stops it from being a divine and it goes back to being dark.
Okay. Like I wasn't sure how that applied or what did, but like it could mess some stuff up. Theoretically, it's a skill drain if you call divine off of DNA surgery or whichever one that was.
Now that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. When a Cyberse monster with 2300 original attack activates its effects as a quick effect, you can move this card to your main monster zone this card points to, then you can change it to any attribute until the end of this turn.
Oh yeah. Also, Reproductus is targeted negation.
You're a divine now. Stop it. Okay, yeah. So it doesn't... The way it's worded is it changes its attribute to this, but it doesn't say, like, this card's attribute becomes blank, which would imply, like... Or this card's attribute is treated as blank, or the declared attribute. So it tries to turn divine. You negate it. Because it's an effect that applies to itself, it'll stop being divine. And because the effect is no longer trying to change it to divine, it'll just go back to being dark. We've solved it. We've solved the issue.
Like, yeah, there might be an infinite loop with funny attribute things, but there are worse infinite loops.
Okay, objectivity. I think this is also a 5. I'm not gonna declare that any of these are gonna bust open a format, and I didn't see any issues with problem-solving card text, so I think that it's solid card design, and the effects are fun, but not overpowered. Versatility. The field spells open up a lot of potential to be played in a lot of different decks. The extra deck locking does kind of limit what decks would want to play them, but there's certainly a lot that you could play them in.
Yeah, plus like it might encourage some main deck centric focused things to utilize some of these cards because like I know some would like to be able to summon negate as many cards as you want a thing out of the deck off of a field spell.
The other funny thing here is, and I know I joked about this, but legitimately, Alvin.
Yeah.
not only does it have the Visas Heart monster stat line, it also has an effect that triggers when a face-up monster on the field is destroyed, which all of the cards in that cycle do. So you could play this.
Oh yeah, I guess this is good
summon it
Manadium
for-
support.
It kind of is. It's a great level.
And Prime Heart only needs lights for the not non-tuners because it can still use tuners, but like the part that isn't specifically the tuner just needs lights. So it works. And it's 10, right? So like this plus so like
this plus Visas.
Alvis
Visas is 6 though.
Yeah.
But still, the fact that it triggers all of that, and then you can grab a equip spell. I don't know if you would use any of these cards for anything, though. I guess True Divine Soul can be equipped to anything as long as you have Alvin, and the Forbidden Scriptures effect can be relevant at some points. But if not, you just use it as discard fodder for something. So this actually has legitimate value in Visas decks.
Also, Imitation, the Replica Monado is a 700 attack boost, and if you're somehow fighting a divine monster, or you use Reaper Duckus, it's an instant win.
Yeah, so there's also that. So there is actually legitimate usage for some of these cards. So I think I gotta give it a 2 in versatility. It's there's a little enough there that you could see this in other decks.
Sweet.
And awesomeness, it's 5. I love Xenoblade Chronicles. This is so cool, and you very clearly did a great job of translating all of the characters' aspects into the card game. I'm still losing my mind over what you did with Heir of Mechanical Divinity. I think the Dunban one was really cool. And of course, folks, it's Rhine time. The
It's
only
always
issue,
Rhine.
as Jerry has brought up, there's no card for removable Gonzalez.
I wasn't doing the villains yet.
Okay, well, we'll hold you to it. Okay, well, enjoy your 17 on this one. Great batch. Thank you for showing these off. This was really fun.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. Have a good one, all right?
Yeah, see ya.
See ya. Bye. Okay, so I was told... I saw in chat, I wasn't ignoring it, but I had to focus on my guest. But Borger is muted for some reason. Borger, if you want to go ahead and move into the guest comms, we can see if it's working, or I'll be able to like check it and see what's going on with that. Because I'm not sure what would have caused that.
Hello.
Oh, well, there you go. I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, it was the right move to mute me.
Huh. Well, I'm glad I can hear your wonderful voice now. How you doing today?
Quite good. I'm just a little bit sleepy, and well, better I make it now than that I have to disrupt my playtime with my group.
Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get that set up there. Ba-ba-da. Get that deleted. Okay. So, Borger, you have sent
Yep.
us... oh. These pendulums look just fantastic.
Yeah.
And scary.
Yeah. Do not ask me where I have them. You will solve it. I have the images from.
Where'd you get the images from?
I'm not telling you.
Borger.
Okay.
Did you AI these?
Yes.
And what did I write in the submission form?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Well, Here's what I'm gonna do.
Oh.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead. We'll still talk about your cards. Don't worry about that.
I
We got
should
that
have
taken care of.
just not said anything.
Well, I would certainly hope. I'm glad that you were honest with me at the very least. Thank you for that. Just gonna do that, and there we go. Okay, cool. So, cards. They're exactly 5. Okay, cool. So we'll just talk about these. So now that we've got that out of the way, what was your design ideas for all these? What was the impetus for making the ritual pendulum cards?
On one hand, there are basically no ritual pendulum cards. There are 2. As far as I know, and the second is I feel like ritual is like a wholly separate deal to practically all mechanics that are in Yu-Gi-Oh! So why not make something that somehow interacts with the other stuff?
All right, well then we'll see how that has blossomed forth with your
Yes.
ideas with the Ritus. First up is Ritus of Sepalinda Terram.
Yes, I think that was Burying Earth in like Google Translate
Ooh,
Latin.
all right. Okay. It is a level 8 Earth Ritual Pendulum Fiend monster with 2,700 attack and 2,800 defense. As a pendulum spell, it's got a scale of 7. As a pendulum spell, once per turn, you can reduce or increase the scale of one pendulum monster in your pendulum zone by 1. Then you can ritual summon a Ritus monster from your hand by attributing cards with a total scale of its level. If you have Ritus monsters in both of your pendulum zones, you can also pendulum summon ritual monsters, ignoring their summoning conditions, just in general.
Yes,
As a monster,
just in general.
wow. As a monster, you can ritual summon this card with a Ritus card. If this monster leaves the field and has not been ritual summoned or pendulum summoned from the extra deck, shuffle it into your deck. It's not been ritual summoned or pendulum summoned. Okay, so if we pendulum summon it from the hand, it gets shuffled back if it leaves the field.
Yes.
If this card is pendulum summoned from the extra deck, it gains the following effects. Each time you activate the effect of a Ritus card or pendulum summon any number of monsters, you gain 100 life points, and your opponent loses 100 life points for each Ritus card you have banished and or is in your face-up extra deck. And that's not once per turn, it looks like.
No, it's not once per turn, but well, and on the one hand you can only pendulum summon once per turn, and I think nearly none of the Ritus cards are actually activated effects.
Oh, okay.
This is like I've tried to make them a little bit like Maxi.
So the increasing or decreasing the scale, that's not an activated effect, you just do it?
That's one of the few activated effects that they have.
Okay, so
But
that is an
like
activated effect. Okay.
none of the monsters have one. I tried to at least.
Okay.
I should say GoldenNova, that was frankly.
I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah.
See how that affects in the future. Right now, we have our second one. Start the clock like a good host. Ritus of Aqua Torrentus. Ooh.
Yeah. Torrential water.
Level 8 Water Fiend Ritual Pendulum monster with a scale of 9. It's got 2,600 attack and 3,100 defense. As a pendulum spell, once per turn, you can reduce or increase the level of one pendulum
That's the
monster.
same. They all have the same pendulum effect.
Oh, okay. So we are also going to be committing ritual war crimes with this one. Good to hear.
Yes, of course.
Okay. As a monster, you can ritual summon this card with a Ritus card. If this monster leaves the field and has not been ritual or pendulum summoned to the extra deck, you can return it to the deck. If this card is pendulum summoned from the extra deck, it gains the following effect. Each time you activate the effect of a non-fiend Ritus card, or you pendulum summon any number of monsters, change the battle position of a monster your opponent controls. Monsters your opponent controls that are in defense position cannot activate their effects. Oh no! Oh, we're Baguskaing.
Yes, you're a goose game.
Get Baguska'd.
But it's one single monster each time you do that. Which can still add up.
Yeah. Okay. Next is Ritus of Flame Ragientis, or Rugientis. What's that translate to?
I actually forgot.
Ah. I'm gonna take a crack at it and say that it translates to ooh, ow, ooh, fire,
Yeah, I think it was Roaring Flame or something like that.
It is a level 8 Fire Ritual Fiend Pendulum Monster, scale of 7, 2700 attack, 2300 defense. Got our usual Pendulum Monster effect. Our usual monster summoning restrictions, I guess you would say.
Yes.
If this card is Pendulum summoned from the extra deck, it gains the following effect. Each time you activate the effect of a non-fiend Ritus card, or Pendulum summon any number of monsters, you can also destroy one face-up spell or trap card on the field, except a card that's in the Pendulum zone.
So yeah, I didn't want them to be able to pop themselves, except with their pendulum effect. But this one is basically it burns what is there.
Yeah, just
So
raises them to the ground.
Yeah, it like it says, it burns equipment spells, it burns field spells, and all the continuous stuff.
And also not once per turn. So if you get the situation which can activate multiple, hooey.
Yeah. But again, only one for each activation.
Okay. Ritus of Sanctus Eternus is a level 10, that looks like?
Yes.
Level 10. Light Spellcaster Ritual Pendulum Monster. Scale of 8. Our first non-fiend one. 2100 attack, 3700 defense. Go ahead.
This is the guy that actually does the rituals, which is why his monster effect is pretty wordy and building up, and why he's not a fiend.
All right, well, let's see if I can deal with this mouthful. You can ritual summon this card with any Ritus card. This card gains the following effects depending on how many Ritus monsters are banished or are face up in your extra deck. With 2 or more, if this card would leave the field due to a card effect, you can place it on top of your extra deck face up. 4. Treat this card as a fairy monster. Ritus spell and trap cards cannot leave the field due to your opponent's card effects. 5 plus, all Ritus monsters on your side of the field gain their effects as if they were pendulum summoned from the face up extra deck.
Yes, they typically pendulum cards, when they leave the field, when they are destroyed, they go to the face up extra deck. This one, if you have 2 or more, also can go to the face up extra deck if it is bounced to the hand, or is banished, or what other things?
I guess put it back on top of the deck.
Yeah, it leaves the field.
Uh,
Oh, no, it goes to the face up extra deck.
I don't care about your macrocosmos. It's going here. Thank you very much. That'll ensure that.
You're trying to Chengjing me. No.
Nah. Well, I guess that would also still work because that sends it to grave, right? As effect.
No, Chengjing would banish.
Oh, well, shoot. Never mind then. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, not getting banished. I'm going to the extra deck. It can't work when shuffled into the deck due to rulings. That is true if it was a triggered effect that activated afterwards, it wouldn't work, but this is a replacement effect that changes where the card goes. So it should still work under those circumstances. Okay.
Yeah, and with 4 or more, he's practically ascending from his mortal form as a spellcaster to, well, an angel, a demigod, practically seen. And with 5 plus, he has enough mastery over summoning all of them that they immediately, when they come out, are at full power.
Yeah, we don't gotta set him up in the extra deck or nothing.
Yeah. But of course, you have to work for that.
Yeah, fair. We still do have to set that up at least.
Yeah.
Okay, last up we have Ritus Sacrificial Altar. Field spell card. Once per turn, you can excavate cards from your deck until you excavate a Ritus monster card. Add that card to your hand and shuffle the remaining cards into the deck. At the start of the damage step, if a Ritus monster you control battles an opponent's monster, you can banish a Ritus monster from your face-up extra deck with the same name as your monster. Shuffle that opponent's monster into the deck. If a card or effect is activated that would destroy a Ritus card on the field as a quick effect, you can shuffle a monster with the same name as it from your face-up extra deck into the deck, and if you do, negate that effect and banish that card.
So yeah, this is why Sanctus Eternus had to mention banishment, banished cards as well. And yeah, this is the general search for an archetype card and protect the guys.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting way to handle it. It's one of those things where it checks if it's removed from the field in general. It doesn't name anything in particular, so it's a pretty wide range of protection. It's sadly not something that we see printed. I don't think there's like a precedent for it, but in the realm of making stuff for customs, that's a pretty powerful protection effect.
I mean, changing names is pretty commonplace nowadays, I think.
Oh,
There are
the
quite a lot of effects that change the card's name, so
name
Wizard
changing,
never
yeah, we
use
have a
it.
lot of things that can like mimic stuff like that, for sure.
Also, something that none of us has pointed out is that on the one hand, the Ritter spells as Ritter's cards do not care about the level of the turreted cards, but about the scales. And it's nowhere mentioned that that the turreted cards have to be in the pendulum zones.
Yeah, so half the time I don't think we even need to do the ritual effect, right? Because we've got scales 7 and 9, and the base forms are all level 8s, so you can just pen them out no problem.
Yes, of course, but in that case, they always go back to the deck and not and do not have their strong effects.
That's true.
Where you need to first get them out, and then get them out a second time.
Folks, it's
That's
time to
why they
play
are sort of balanced.
Folks, it's time to play Pendulum Treasure. Just start foolish barreling all to your face up extra deck. Just go ahead, have fun with it. Alrighty, and then I see a selection of level 8 ritual monsters down here.
Yeah, these are one of the few that I have actually found that do not care about being ritual summoned. Because most cards I have found were like, if this monster is ritual summoned and not this card generally has these effects.
Yeah, sorry, I forget that Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon is a level 8 all the time. It's so funny that all that
Yeah.
power is packed into just I'm just a standard Blue Eye size. It's fine.
Yeah.
That honestly feels like one of the real big strengths of the deck, though, because pending your on theme ritual monsters out of your hand is, like you said, not going to get us our best value, but like Lord of the Red is still outrageous removal. Magician of Black Chaos potentially locks our opponent out of all their hand traps. I forget what Riot Dragon does, but it's a Boral card. I'm sure it does something wacky. Chaos Max Dragon wins you the game. Phaleg makes your entire board swole. Like, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Uh, it's. I kind of wondered if these cards would actually be OP because Phaleg is in there.
Look, I could see these just being teched in because these are ritual monsters. They may be too high for prep to find them, and there's not a specifically named card for pre-prep to work with them, but you can still tribute Ben 10 to search these things. That's the only thing I can think of when it comes to these, but you can do that.
Yeah. Also, I had to specifically say that the summoning conditions are ignored because ritual monsters are hard, practically hard coded. It's in the rules that they have to be ritual summoned first before you can special summon them in any other way.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to first ignore that before you can, well, put them out normally.
Yeah, if your card or effect said something like you can special summon a ritual monster from like a hidden zone, you wouldn't have to put that. Like we see that with novels now, but in this situation, doing it as a player action via pendulum summoning, you did have to specify that. So that was good keeping up on it with the problem solving card text.
So yeah, that's my cards, I guess.
Alrighty. Well, I think we've talked about how they intersect with the ritual pool at large. Is there anything else that we want to mention really quickly, or is it time for the Nova scale?
On the one hand, that Sanctus Eternus needs, of course, some additional setup, because the normal pendulum scale only goes to 9, and you need at least 11 to get him out.
Are there any tiny pendulum monsters that we run with them to play with them?
Probably. I mean, pendulum spire, mostly.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right, then I'll go ahead and crack open the Nova scale.
Yep.
Alrighty, so novelty. Like you said, there really is not a lot of pendulum ritual monsters out there. It's a cool design space, and the idea here is or one of the ideas here is that this opens up the gates to playing regular ritual monsters in this kind of pendulum deck. Because of the way these are worded, you have made it specifically so we're only getting level 8 ritual monsters.
We initially only get level 8 ritual monsters that is over time expanding. But you still have to manipulate the scales specifically to hit the levels.
Yeah. So that's a pretty cool idea. I do like where we're going with that one. I think we can give this a 5 in novelty. I like the idea that's going on here. Objectivity. Our power level here, it's actually kind of wild, I'm gonna be honest. Like, our level 8 rituals are largely balanced out by the fact that you can't just put them on the board randomly, but you get a good scale with some of these, and all of a sudden you have a Chaos Max that can randomly win the game. Or the Chaos Max, which could lock your opponent out of the game. Like, that's some really good effects to just have on hand. There's all the ritual support you get to play with it. Incantations. I must assume that incantations work wonderfully here, because while you can't summon from the extra deck while they're on the field,
that doesn't stop you from summoning from your hand.
We do get the ones from the hand. There's got to be some ways to clear them off the board too. I am certain that with a pool of cards as small as these, you'll have other cards that can get your incantations out of there. Like Incantation Inception goes wild in this deck for sure. Like Sanctus Eternus is 10, right?
Yes.
So we just do like what? Talismandra, summon Candle. Candle gets its incantation. Tribute those off. You get Sanctus Eternum.
Yeah, and now you have a beat stick.
Yeah. So lots of ways you could utilize that. Objectivity. I've actually got to give it a 3 here because I'm scared of what it's capable of doing.
Also, Sanctus Eternus. Oh yeah, it's a it's a beat stick
Yeah, it's
with
also
2,100.
it's just pretty.
Um,
It's a pretty solid body that also gets you just a ton of relevant utility once you've got your setup.
Yeah.
Okay. Versatility. Do these cards see play in other decks? Well, not all of them. Obviously, it only really cares about our ritual synergies. It could see play in some pendulum stuff as a way to access the ritual cards, but I can't really think of many off the bat that necessarily are looking to add that in there or need the kind of utility that those ritual monsters provide that are worth the effort for all of this. So versatility, I think I can see it being splashed, but not very widely. So I'm going to give it a 2.
well, that pleases me.
Do you think it was going to be a 1?
And no, it pleases me that they can be splashed, yes, but they cannot be like absolutely abused.
Okay,
Like
okay.
this is not a hard engine that you put in something and now the deck is like 3 tiers higher.
Okay. So we've got that. As for awesomeness, I do like the conceit of the deck. I think it's a really cool idea that we're showing off here, and there was clearly a lot of work that went into figuring out like how all of the different pieces fit together. Under normal circumstances, I would give this my usual 5 because there was clearly a lot of cool stuff in here. If we submit it later with different or no art, I would change my score, but I'm gonna give it a 1
Yep.
on that one. That's my
Yep.
that's
fair.
that's my pound of flesh on that one. Still an 11 on the Nova scale. Potential up to 15. I think this is really cool. I think your design sensibility was really good on this.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say or anything else you want to add on before we move on? Before we wrap up here?
Not really. As usual, thanks to Quilava. Yeah.
Quilava. Always doing the Lord's work in regards to customs. Thank you very much. All right, well, take care. Have yourself a good day, all right?
Yep. You as well. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Alrighty. And that was 2 more in the bag today. That was 5. That was 5 customs today, folks. That was a lot of cards. Okay, that about covers all of that. I'm just going to get my schedules and all this updated here. Okay, last call, I guess. If we have anything else, if we have anyone else who is around right now, to whom's would like to go ahead and show off their cards, I am more than willing to do that. But if not, we will wrap things up here. Like I said, I've got a video that's in the works that is almost finished that I can't wait to finish up for all of you. I've been working like a dog this past week to make this all finished up, and all those lore heads out there are really gonna enjoy it. I guarantee. Fibonacci scaling. That's awesome. Okay. Alrighty. Just gonna go ahead and wind down. And we'll see who else is streaming right now. Who else is doing some stuff today? Alright. Take care, Borger. Have yourself a good one, alright? Oh my god, there's a ton of people streaming right now. Holy calzone. Laura Benz is streaming. Hardleg is streaming. Oh, you know we haven't rated in a while? We haven't rated Ashy. Ashy's a good friend from some collabs that we did with Mistress Doom. She's playing some Master Duel. Let's go ahead and send the joy over to Ashy. I think you're all going to enjoy her stylings, her dueling power. Alrighty. So, that's all getting started there. Let me go ahead and drop... Oh, you know what? It's too late for links right now. It's already getting set up there. That's fine. Don't worry. If you are someone who wants to follow up on stuff, I think Exclamation Point Socials is there if you want to find out where my Twitter is, my Discord, my YouTube channel, my Patreon if you want to join in on this stuff in the future. That's where you can find all that stuff. There should also be links below the channel, like there's all those panels and stuff. That's a good place you can click for stuff. If you want to support, it would very much appreciate it. As always, I think it's socials because I'm a freak. As usual, January, beginning of the new year, is always rough for all your content creator people out there because ad revenue is down. So whether it's me or another person that you enjoy watching on the internet, please consider checking out any of their Patreons or Ko-fis or anything like that. Consider giving a few dollars. It really does mean the world to all of us whenever you're able to help out with that. But of course, if you are not able to, please don't feel like we want to have you feel left out. Just choosing to spend your day with me here at this time really does mean the world. It's absolutely wild. There's all this stuff out there that you could be watching or doing, and you've decided to spend it with me, the guy who puppeteers Trihorn Dragon every once in a while because he's a goofball. So, thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Going. How are you doing? This is reinforcement of the army, so we hit this one. They have to play without me.